Hey everybody, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell, hit thumbs up, thumbs down, doesn't matter. Comment in the comments if stuff you like to see. If you see these little marks all over my screen, it's just I don't want to pay for the full version to eliminate them. I had it messed up on my computer. They said I had to update my computer because the graphic card was wrong. So after that, I thought I'm not doing it anymore. I'll just use a free version of it and leave that up where it's at. It's fine. I may pay for it later on. Today we're going to start about trend trading. So watch the trend trading video. We'll go ahead and go with the announcement. If you do not have the money to get in the market or money just to gamble with, do not do this. It is gambling. Therefore, try not to get into it unless you have money to just spend. Okay. But today we're going to talk about trend trading and show you a little bit of trend trading. And this is a stock I got in back last week, I think. I actually was just trying to get out of it now. I forgot to get out of it. But anyways, also in these, you must have patience. If you don't have patience and be able to sit back, this is not the job for you. This is a job. So you got to discipline yourself like it's a business. So it is a business. I'm not a very patient person, and so when I first started, I had a lot of trouble. Probably next week or week after next, we're probably going to try to get a person that got me into it that's very good with cryptocurrency. That being said, if you get in this business, don't look at it to make millions. Look at it to make money that you can live off of. And Stacy's is one of them that's very good. Discipline herself. Her goal is to quit her job. She did. She owned the business. She quit her business and then went to another job and actually quit that job just because she started doing it on the side. And then her goal was to make $100 a day. So she makes $100 a day and she's out. And that being said, she may make 75. The next day she may make 100 or something. But on average, it's about $100 a day if you take it on average. So that's her goal. And if you've got something like that, you don't need millions. If you've got to come here 1 or 2 hours a day and make $500 a week, she may make 7. I don't know if she does it 7 days a week. Since cryptocurrency goes 7 days a week, she might have that goal. Make $500 a week, go do something else. Or go spend time with your kids. That's what she does. She spends time with her grandkids. So $500 a week ain't bad. It's good. You can live on it. If you want to do it, make $200 a week, make it. If you want to do 7 days a week, get on cryptocurrency, make $700 a week, $500, $100 a day, make $700 a week. Uncle Sam you got to pay Uncle Sam, he takes it out. You still bring home about $600 a week for basically 3 hours of work. Maybe you might want to do more, 4 hours of work a day. And I think she's only doing 2 to 3 hours a day, and then she'll go back, check it, she'll go and leave it, check it a little bit, and probably 2 hours a day, she's making $50 an hour. I mean, if you look at it. Now, if you want to get a penny stock is a lot more complicated. You do have to do a lot of research on stock. You can't just jump in a stock, because if you do jump in a stock and penny stock, you can really hurt yourself. Forex market, cryptocurrency, it's kind of a stable kind of thing. It's been around for many, many, many years. All countries is pretty much participating in it. But again, you still got to watch what you do, because banks control it, and banks want to make money at the end of the day. So if they can control it and lock it one way or the other to make you lose and get your money, that's what they'll do. So just remember. So today we're going to talk about trend trading. So get involved, get some trend trading. This is the most common one. It's very easy. Watch the trend. You can eventually once you get used to it and start watching it and do it more, you can bid against the trend. So that being said, click my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that little bell where you can get more descriptions, and let's get in it. Hey everyone, this is Friday, August 14, 2020. I've been kind of occupied this week, but here's what I'm going to show you, and this is what I'm talking about: trend trading. If I get my screen to show up here. If you look here, it's hard to tell with all the little stars. It's a trend. There's always trends. It's trended up, it stopped, it trends back down. And this is on a daily. This does it weekly, monthly, daily, hourly, minute. It doesn't matter. And a lot of times, when you look at these, if you look at this screen here, see it trending down? It's hard to tell because all these stars. I'm going to show you a different chart. But see where it broke it, this trend? Now that being said, it could, if you could put it back here and had it, more likely you might have thought then and took the trade or try it, but I always wait till it comes out. But if you look, I didn't wait until, I waited anyways. I didn't say I waited, but anyways, I waited till it gets right here. You notice it came down, it broke through, comes up, comes back down, retest this area. If you look into it really good, it broke through it, it comes back down, it tests. This is very good. So if you put your, if it came down and tested it, put you a buy stop right in here and took the trade, you'd have been in the trade and it rode up. And I'm still in the trade. I actually stayed in it for a little bit longer than what I normally do. But I just want to ride it because this is on a daily chart and this has been riding up for quite a while now. But I almost think it's going to come up. It's going to come back down, go back up, come back up. And most of the time, if this is a perfect world, now that being said, the world's not always perfect. If it's a perfect world, it's going to go up. It's going to come back down a little bit, have a long trend, come back down, go way back up, come back down, and go back up. Let me redo this. Because normally, if it's a perfect world, it should go up, come back down, go back up. This should be your topping point. Come back down, test it. This would be a long one. If it's a long one, it's going to maybe an Elliott Wave. It's going to come back up. This is going to be a top. It's going to come back down. Test it there and go back up. Now that being said, this is what I'm on a daily. So if you take consideration, there's every chart's got a, this is a daily, if it's a weekly or whatever, they'll have other waves inside of them. So if you go to the 1 hour wave, he'll come up, and a lot of times there's 5 of them inside of this. Now they can be more, they can be less, like I'm saying, if it's a perfect world. But 70-80% of the time, this is what happens. And then if you look at it, go down our minute chart, you'll have another one's coming in this side, and it just competes all the way up. And usually what happens, if it has, if it does what it's supposed to do, but like I said, if it don't do it, 90, like I said, 60-70% of the time, it does this. It'll come up, come down, come up, come down, and go up. And they'll have what they call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then sometimes they'll do a correction. Let's see, 1, 2, 4. Like so. And then a lot of times they'll come back up and then goes back down. Now it can go up because Elliott waves normally are 5, but they can be up to 9 or so. It's not a perfect world. But a lot of times I have a corrections wave here, and this is usually where you get your pattern. You know, certain like a bat pattern everybody talks about. You know, gauntlet pattern, sharp pattern. This is usually where you get them at. And there's also called a wolf that comes in plays in these. And that's very, 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 very accurate. And so usually when you see these patterns, and I'll do another video on them. Usually when you see these patterns, they'll form. There'll be a butterfly pattern. There's there's butterfly patterns. So there's these patterns. So let's say at the end of the Elliott wave, these patterns form. And let's say it comes down. And in these patterns, you have certain guidelines that has to be met before these patterns are merged. So a Elliott wave before these patterns merge. So this pattern shows it's coming in. Now it's changing because usually what happens, this is coming up and then it goes back down and it goes back up. So a lot of times it's telling you it's going to change direction. So it's coming down, it's going to change and go up. Now me, I take half of this and that's when I'm out. I'll get in somewhere down here and then I get up here when it hits half of it and I'm out. That's my goal. Now sometimes it goes higher, but some of them goes halfway or a little bit up and then they'll go back down. This is just to kind of tell you it's changing directions. An Elliott wave, if you look at an Elliott wave, this comes up, comes back down, it tested, and this one has to be the longest point. Then it'll come back and test and go up. If this is not the longest point, it's not an Elliott wave. And what that means is this is surely going to be an upward trend because this point right here is very strong. Now, that being said, is it always that way? No. But 70% of the time it's going to happen and it will do what it's supposed to do. But like I said, this could be a daily, and then you take your, well, let's do this. This is a daily one. So then you take a hourly one, and you got the 5 waves in it. And then you could go here and inside of it, you have another 5 waves in each one of these. So it's always inside of each other. But that's where that comes in play. So let's see if I can put my other chart. The same thing, same daily currency, just a different chart. So see, let me get back out of this. You see it comes up, comes down. So if I do and I got to move my chart over. I think it's just, to be honest with you, this is this one here. This is why in one of my videos I talk about where the news comes out real quick and it drops way down. So if news comes out that day, don't go by what the news saying. Like they're saying now, gold is going to go up. It's going to go up to $5,000 an ounce or I think Bank of America said it's going to go up to 5,000 an ounce, and it's not. I mean, it may. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't listen to those people because make your own judgment. They're telling you they're just going to go up, so you start buying, and then they start shorting it, and then next thing you know it drops. You lose everything, and guess who made the money? The banks. So they put out news like that to make money. So don't get me wrong, the banks are not your friends, and I'm sorry if any of your followers are that are bankers. I'm sorry to say it, but you're not. You're there to make money, and same way we are. So, and I'll show you how to trade like the big banks, but like I said, it's not, that way. So this one could do the Elliott Wave, and see this one right here was the longest. The wave it was, and now if you notice in some of these, there's little spikes. Like this one could come down here. You got big spikes. So when I seen this, and then I put on my thing ain't cooperating today too much. Make it shorter. There we go. Now I'm just going to rep this in here real quick, and when you do these, you try to find the most touches. So even though these come out of the boundaries, it's okay. But see, you see the pattern coming down. All of a sudden, right here, it broke. I kind of want to get that touch there because I want that touch. These other ones are just in between them. Now I can move it down, and get more touches, but this is fine. This is where I seen it. And once I seen this pattern, this area right here, you notice it comes up, it comes back down to test this line. So that's when I've got in it, when it started going back up. And therefore, if you remember when I talked about the candlestick patterns, you watch the candlestick patterns. So that told back in here, if you zoom in, let me get in here. See where it comes down and test it. And if you remember in my previous videos, if you don't know it, go look at it, candlestick patterns. This candle here. If you noticed, it's a red candle. It's coming down. There's a line. Now, not only did the green candle form, but the red candles here, they actually formed here. So this, where the candles did not start evenly, is a big, strong buying signal. So if you look back at the chart, so several things give you confirmation that this is going to do this. This candle, even though it was this candle, I'd still probably jumped in it, but when it does this, it makes me think even more. It touched the line, so it retested and started going back up. And on top of that, it pretty much starts below it, and it's engulfing. It engulfs this candle here. So it's bigger than that candle, if you must know, if you don't know what gulping means. But so see what I did to the candle? It should have been right in here, but let's see. And this had a little wick, but it's still actually went above the wick. The candle formed above the wick, or exit. So that gave me a big, strong buying thing. So when I got in the trade, I put a buy sell here. The next day, the candle opened and went up. Now, does this happen all the time? Of course not. I mean, does it happen often? Yeah, this is about 90% of the thing. So I got 4 or 5 confirmation saying that this is what's fixing to happen. Would it always do it? No. You still have 5-10% chance it's not going to do it. Nothing's perfect in the world. If it was, all of us would be rich. The only thing when I did get in was right here. It kind of started concerning me. If you notice those candles, it made me feel like it's not going to do what it wants to do. I want it to do, but I still stayed in it. I kept thinking, yeah, I think it's going to do it. So, of course, you have a percentage. So I started losing money to do it right in here, and I said it started going up. Started doing undecisive, but you notice it's still going up a little bit, and then it goes up. So sometimes you got to stick it in a trade for, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days right in there. And then I was on the 6th day, 7th day, I started making it. And then all of a sudden it went into the negative. And then all of a sudden it's just indecisive again, and then start going up. So what I've done though, I put my stop loss below this line. So if it did come around, I never put it right on it, because sometimes it can go a little bit below that line. One candle will whip out, do what I call a whip out, because some news come out. So I put my stop loss there, and then I just rode it. So once I start making, I just rode the trend. Now I'm way up here. More likely I'm fixing to get out of it. So even when this candle forms, you try to do it, but you always still go down to a different chart and see if that's the best time to get in, because that candle, the green candle, will be green, but it could be forming some other pattern. So I'll go to the 1 hour. Sometimes I go to the 15-minute, but most time I go to the 1 minute. And then I'll get in right there. So I'll see a candlestick form. I'll see it where it could do. It could have done the Elliott Wave. It could have done that pattern. And all of a sudden, but you may get in it. And you think, I'm gonna get in it right here. So then next thing you know, it's doing this uptrend. You get in it right here, and the next thing you know, it starts going down to the 5. Then it goes back up to the 5. So you got to be leery on this. Make sure it's doing the same thing that you look for on the daily. You look for on the minute charts, and then get in the trade. That way when you get in the trade, you're not losing so bad. I used to get in it, and as soon as I get in, I'm already losing money. I say, how can this? You lose money when you start getting in it, because the broker takes his fees out. But I don't lose that much, but I do lose a little bit. So, and you see right here, there's a pattern form. This butterfly pattern. So when that pattern formed, see when the pattern formed, it said it's going to go back down. And if you look, it narrows it and it goes down, comes back up, but then goes down. So this would probably been the halfway mark for me. I'd have been out, and luckily I'd have been out because it went back up. So if you look for the same things you can look to get in a pattern, is the same thing when you're ready to get out, you'll start looking for. It's hard to sit in front of a computer all day long and watch every candle form. That's why you put a stop loss, put your target price, and leave. Mine on this one would have been here. I'd entered probably when this candle formed. Yeah, so they recommend here and here and here. So they recommend to get in, enter in this zone, but take profit this one, and you can just hold out for this. So I'd have got in it and probably got out halfway. You measure this and got out halfway, or just use your eyes, but that's about halfway mark, and that's what I'd have got out at. And luckily I would have, because it went straight back up, bam, it went down. So if you remember in some other previous videos where I talk about these candles coming down, see, they're all pretty much the same size, and then this one forms opposite way, but this one's huge. It's bigger than all these. So that tells me everybody on this candle they're starting getting out and changing their mind, or getting out because they figured that this is as far as it's going to go, which would have been me. And then I'll say hit it, and then it goes back up. But see, this one candle here completely engulfed it. You would have probably rolled that one back up, made you some money. But I wouldn't have rolled that one. There are people who makes money on the pullbacks. I don't try to do it. I try to follow the trend. So to me, the trend started to say it's going to go down. I would have probably done this one, but you could have rolled it back down if you stayed in longer, and then it goes back up. So now it's actually going sideways if you look at it, but it is going up and down, but it's kind of going sideways. There is no trend. It's a trend going sideways. You can get in and make money off these, but it's hard to get in here. Like you're going to get in here and take a, like you notice this big candle here, and you start getting in here, but see, it's in the side, so then it goes back down. So you wouldn't have made much money here unless you bet huge. And see, now it's formed this trend going down, and like I said, right here, it broke the trend. Same with the knee sticks. If you want to get out and on this big long trend, this one I'd have got out probably because it was huger than any of these, and I'd have been out. But if you stayed in, you could roll it. But see, this one's a big long candle too. So finally, everybody's in it, and everybody's trying to get out of the trade. And this one forms. This one comes in because everybody's not getting out. People starts coming in. And you got this candle forms where everybody else decided to get out. So then this one's indecisive, then it goes down. So you had your pullback. And this chart you can't do a lot too. A lot of. But let's do a Fibonacci. This one's different. I forgot that. You know what Fibonacci is? We'll go over it one day later. But it's kind of hard to explain to people what it is. When you start explaining it to people what it is, and they'll kind of look at you kind of like you're weird, you know. But if you took a Fibonacci from this to here, it pulls back. These charts are so hard to work with. Let's see. Let me go to this other one. Let's go to daily. And I should just start a new fresh window, but so you take a Fibonacci. Now remember, now if this does an Elliott Wave, this here is supposed to be longer than this before it tries to pull back. So we'll go to Fibonacci. Of course, it's in my way. And we'll go to that top of that one before it pulls back. So in that case, it pulled back to the half mark. So that's good. So now, if this other one keeps going, it should pull longer than this one and keep going. And then it's going to have a pullback. So that being said, if you take that one, Fibonacci for this one, put it down. Let's see if we can measure it. It's awful small. Anyways, I could go back and forth between tools and stuff. But anyways, this one ain't got the tool I'm looking for. It's a tool I added. Let's see the Fibonacci on this one. The screen's too short. But if you notice, the Fibonacci came down to this one for halfway mark. The 618 is God's number. Halfway mark is a good sign. So it's, if you was in it, you pulled it and you take it out. Get off that one. And you could use the bowling bands if you wanted to. But also go to, I use these because something like, I tell people not to use them, but like I said, I go to, first thing I look at is candlestick patterns. I look at which way it's going, if it's in a trend, if it's going in a trend, if it's, everything's going fine, the candlesticks are forming. And then I might go to an hour, 1 minute, and then I'll look over here and at this one and see if it's been overbought or oversold. If I'm trying to go up and it's in a 1 minute or an hour, and on the daily it looks like it's, I'm going to go long, but in these, it's in an hourly or in a minute one, it says it's been oversold, I'm not going to get in it. Because that means it's going to go back down and retest. You're going to get the Bollinger Bands to see which way it's going. And then you're also going to look at this, the candlestick patterns, which way they're going. But I always look at the candlestick patterns first, then I'll go and look at everything else. And like I said, we're going to talk about websites later. I use this one to talk about what is a good day to trade on. Every currency has a different day that they're most strongest in. Mondays is almost the worst day to, it's not the worst day to trade, but a lot of people don't trade like they normally do during the week. But Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even a little bit Friday is the best days. Fridays is usually very moving because everybody's trying to make their quota that week, make their money, especially the banks and stuff. This one's for penny stocks. Don't even look at it, but you check the news that day. So like see, US isn't, this one I wouldn't worry about too much, but these two are very bad folders. Or not bad, but they're very important folders. So that's where those, and 2 hours before and 2 hours after, I don't trade that currency. And if that's right before and I'm making $1, I'm out. Or I try not to trade that currency. But if let's say I'm in Europe and Japan, if Europe was on there and I'm making $300 right now, I'm done. I'll get out because it could whip around whichever way. If you're making $300 though, sometimes you might just want to wait, see which way it whips. It may whip in your favor and it may whip in the opposite way, but then recorrect itself real quick. But as long as you don't hit your stop loss, and that's the biggest thing, is you hit your stop loss, and you could be, but I've got it set at now, so no matter what, I'll make $100. So if it comes down and whips my stop loss, I'm still making $100. So, but anyways, I always remember candlestick patterns can 90% of the time predict the future. Probably more than that, 98% of the time. When I first got in it, everybody was talking about these bat patterns, 13 patterns. all these other stuff that does it. I finally started listening to other people talk about it. And that's where a lot of people trades from. Where we're at here. I think this is it. Yeah, trades from these. These trades with motivation. So like AUD is very high, very strong currency right now. So you would take this currency and bet against the U.S. currency. So whichever way it goes. I think U.S. is here, so ADU there. I think. But anyways, you would bet that one against the other currency. These two you wouldn't be doing either one to because it's not moving. This one and this one you wouldn't bet against. This one would be but like this one and definitely Canada and US you would try to bet against. And that's why I was taught. And later on I started watching these people that make millions off this. And some of these people you'll follow that teaches you how to do this, especially a big organization. I'm just single. Another industry where they would teach you how to do this would come in there saying they have thousands of followers, and they would come in there tell you do this certain way. Well, 40% of the time you win. The other 60% of the time you would lose because they would try to bet the opposite way that you was going. And I didn't know that till years later. But there's another website. It's pretty good. Let me get it back on my screen here. This one's really good. You can scan for brokers. Like I said, I talk about these in every video I ever do, but I'm always trying to put it towards people, make sure they see it. But I need to go into all these details of these videos. So like this one's really good, but I don't want to say too much because I don't want too many people take it the wrong way. But see, 69% of the are predicting this currency is going to go long. 69% is saying it's going to go long. So if you look, now this is back to this. This is Europe and Swiss franc. We was on Europe and Japan. So look here. If you look, yeah, see, I maybe got into that one since it broke the trend and went out, and then come back up and tested it. See, I might have got in that right there. Then went back into the pattern. But see here, it's broke way out. It went way up, comes back down, and goes back. This is where they're getting the short. I'm sorry, the long from. Right? Yeah, long. Now, if you don't know the difference between short and long, long means it's going up, short means it's going down. So, in this situation, it broke way out and now it's trending. But it looks like so there's another pattern you can put in there. So they may be right, they may be wrong, but it sure looks like it. This is another pattern we'll go over this way. This is not correct. I mean, too good. It's just there just to show you kind of a little bit thing. But these are wedges or pitchforks, not what pitchforks, but wedges, or they call them something else. But it indicates it's going. But see, it could keep this trend down. But it came down and tested. It tested this area here, but went through it. So Hard to say, but I almost think they're correct. We'll see. We'll watch this one. Europe and Swiss franc. We'll watch it and see which way it goes. We're going to put it on the chart. We'll look next week or week after next and see which way it goes. Oh, this is another one. Anyways, I got too many different chart patterns here and there, and each one of them got certain tools the other ones don't have. You also can do pitchforks, which is very good. We'll talk about pitchforks in another video. But y'all stay tuned. Y'all stay safe. Have a good weekend.